What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lantern, bringing you guys the Week 7 chopping block. I'm actually recording this right after the Week 6 chopping block, so hopefully nobody makes transactions using these mons. I think it's fairly unlikely as we're going to be covering some Tier 4s today. So this week is that, yeah. So you guys should have seen the update on weeks 3 and 4 and why they're not happening now, but I'm sort of trying to get ahead of the game with this so that we don't run into that problem again. Anyways, Austin's still out with his jaw issues, I believe, so I'm recording this. If you don't know what chopping block is, it's covering free agents that have not been picked up yet and were not drafted. So that's what that is, and we're going to get right into things right now then. So on today's chopping block is Cofagrigus and Alolan Raichu, two very valuable tier 4s in my mind that have not been picked up. And that's sort of where we're at. So, Cofagrigus, we'll start off with Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus is a very reliable ghost type. Um, Bulky ghost, which isn't very common, actually. It sort of fills a very unique niche role for a team. It's got a great ability in Mummy, transferring Mummy off to any physical attackers to get rid of their ability, which is really cool. It handles things like Darmanitan pretty well because of that to get rid of Sheer Force. It's very versatile offensively. Um, I actually don't remember what I meant by that. Probably because it has a few different. Actually, no, I do remember what it is. You can run a Nasty Plot Life Orb set fairly easily, or you can just run a Trick Room Calm Mind set fairly easily as well. That's probably what I meant by versatile offensively. It doesn't get the greatest coverage, so I definitely didn't mean that. And then getting Toxic Spikes is pretty unique for a Ghost type. I can't think of any others off the top of my head that get toxic spikes. Feel free to let me know down in the comments of other ghost types that get toxic spikes. Um, I don't know. I thought that was pretty neat. Obviously, it can't absorb the toxic spikes, but setting up toxic spikes is really cool. Makes way for really cool hex sets with T spikes plus Will-O-Wisp and hex. So in terms of its weaknesses, though, it struggles against special attackers. Obviously, it relies so much on Mummy and its natural physical bulk to deal with physical attackers, but it struggles pretty heavily against special attackers because a lot of them just get Shadow Ball as really good coverage options. Shadow Ball slash Dark Pulse, just really good coverage options. Something like a Gengar is basically just going to one-shot Cofagrigus unless it's running Kasib Berry. It's also got really unreliable recovery. Relies on Pain Split for its recovery or Rest. Rest I count as unreliable because you're spending 2 turns doing nothing unless you're running Sleep Talk, which takes up 2 full move slots for recovery, which is not good. And then Pain Split is really unreliable because it relies on you having less HP than your opponent, and it's not super unreliable because Cofagrigus is slow. It's very slow. It's base 30, but it's pretty easy to just switch into something weaker and actually unfortunately heal up your opponent. So here's an example set for Cofagrigus running a Rocky Helmet physically defensive set with max HP, max defense, relaxed nature because we're actually running knockoff on the set. It's a double attacking set with Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, and knockoff. This sort of handles physical attackers really well. Shadow Ball is really good stab and it hits a lot of things really hard. And Will-O-Wisp is there to burn the physical attackers, Pain Split for the unreliable recovery, and knockoff to get rid of items. So next up on the chopping block is Alolan Raichu. Now this is a mon that I'm really actually surprised didn't go, and Cade actually doesn't have any free agent transactions, so someone would have to pick this up with their free agent transaction and then trade it to Cade to get the benefit. But if you still have Cade to play, then this is a good pickup because he has Tapu Koko, which we'll talk about in a second why that matters. Alolan Raichu's strength is that it's really fast in electric terrain. Surge Surfer doubles its speed in electric terrain, and it becomes really fast. So I believe there's only 2 things that outspeed it in electric terrain. Um, from abilities, not after using agility or whatever. The 2 things that would outspeed it are Hawlucha after an Unburden boost and Sceptile after an Unburden boost. Alolan Raichu deals with both of those, so that's kind of cool. Well, not as much the Sceptile, but it deals with Hawlucha really well. It's got great dual stab in Electric and Psychic. Again, it deals with Hawlucha. It can deal with flying types. It can deal with fighting types extremely well. It deals with water types really well. It deals with poison types really well. Psychic and Electric, in my opinion, are 2 of the best offensive offensive typings in draft format, especially. And its exclusive Z move is, I would count it as a strength. Stoke Spark Surfer is actually really strong. Thunderbolting Z move with 100% chance to paralyze, which can come in really clutch. If you just happen to need to paralyze something and get a big nuke off, then I would go with that set. In terms of its weaknesses, though, it's extremely frail. It's a very, very frail Pokemon, especially adding the Psychic type to it doesn't help at all because now you're weak to Ghost and Dark, and before you were only weak to Ground. So you're still weak to Ground, but now you're also weak to Ghost and Dark, which doesn't help, and you also yeah, that's sort of where you're at there. Again, I talk about knockoff and earthquake spam. Both of them are very common moves in the format, and it's weak to both. And it also relies on getting set up or having a lot of chip damage. So it really relies on getting a nasty plot up or having the rest of your team sort of punch holes for Raichu to clean up later. Example set here is a Life Orb set with Surf Surfer. Max special attack, max speed, timid, with nasty plot, thunderbolt, psychic, and surf. Surf is there to hit the ground types that would wall thunderbolt, and just dual stab with nasty plot is pretty good. You would sort of interchange surf with grass knot depending on what ground type you're going up against. Something like Mamoswine, grass knot might be a little bit better to hit it because it's going to be a higher base power. Something like Diggersby, Surf is going to be better to hit than Grass Knot because it's lighter. So Surf will do more damage. So that is going to be it for the Week 7 chopping block. And let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It's at NCL Draft League, I believe. And we'll catch you guys for Week 8, potentially. Austin might be back for Week 8. I might be doing Week 8. We'll sort of see how it goes. Anyways, I will catch you guys later.